Hey, one of my favorite parts of the season 2 finale was actually when Anna kills Diana. One of my favorite lines, that's how
I know.
So I was wondering if you could talk about that scene and what your reaction was when you read the script that Anna killed Diana and what it was like to shoot it.
That might be one of my favorite lines of the show. That's how you kill me. And I just think I got goosebumps when I read that. I was sad to see that, again, Anna was taking out yet another person that I love. But I think it was done well, and I think it was a shock to the audience. She was giving her speech to her people, and then suddenly this tale impales her, and Moraine is so evil. So it's always fun to play, and unfortunately we lost Jane in that episode, but I mean, as you saw, there's no more to speak of anyways. So it was a shock. It was a shock when they killed off a few of the characters in that episode. I think it was harder for me with Tyler because it was Logan's last day and we were doing that scene where I kill him. It was the last scene he ever did on the show. I just felt horrible. He's covered in blood, saying his goodbyes to all of us. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to kill you. He's such a great guy too. It's always hard when you have to lose.
Last year, Moraine was here, and I asked her about when first time she got to see the actual film, when you saw her teeth.
Right.
And she told a story about how her little brother watched it, and he was scared of her for a few weeks afterwards. So I was wondering what your reaction was to whenever you'd seen that, if you were scared of her afterwards.
Of Moraine?
Yeah.
I was scared of Moraine. No, not at all. You know a person. I mean, I think we're aware it's not real. So, but the special effects were so incredible. I was happy with the way it turned out, and even for my scene where I, killed Tyler, it was a lot of fun to play. But I don't think it was scared of us.
No.
What about other family members?
Oh.
That saw after you that,
I mean, my grandparents probably felt a little strange about it. It is odd to see. I have a picture on my phone, a screen cap of that, and I, for some reason, want to show people I don't know. I'm like, this is me! And they're like, oh god, that's horrible. But I don't have any little cousins. I mean, they're all old enough to know the difference. Did it scare you, Sydney? Did it scare you? No. How old are you? She's 5. I didn't scare her. Oh, she has pet snakes. You are awesome.
She's staring at you. She's got your number.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing about being on the show and having something happen, and then people think, wow, you're really. I did Taken, this miniseries where I play a bad guy, and a kid I grew up with, I saw him, I went back home. He was like, hey. And I'm like, hey. I didn't know you were like that. Acting.
I mean, we all grow up and we see movies where we see a celebrity or whatever, and it's a scary movie. I've had a few, and you meet the person, and there's that, you don't quite know what it is, and you know that they're not fit. There's that moment where,
Right.
oh, yeah.
Well, does it scare you when you meet Robert?
No, really. He's so good.
I know Maria didn't really use the mouse, but did they use she used a real mouse, or was that?
Yeah, I wasn't there. She was telling the story, but she said they told her it would be a little white mouse, and it was a big rat.
Yeah.
And she had, I know she was holding it by the tail, and it was squirming, and she had to hold the baby at the same time, and it was freaking her out. She said the baby loved it, was trying to grab it. And she was just like, oh. And then I know at one point, to actually do the drop into her mouth, they just gave her like a tail. Not a real tail, it was, I think it was edible. And so they just shot it from when the rest of the body was already in her throat, and she just did the tail at the end. But yeah, it was real bad. Anyone else? Yeah?
Okay, so you both mentioned practical jokes more than once. Is there any story you can tell us about practical jokes from the set?
You should tell your story. Well, Sydney, go la la la.
Can you give us a carefully edited version?
It's online if you want, like not the moment it happened, but the story before. I totally.
Okay, don't tell us. Yeah.
No. It just has something to do with the plastic baby.
Oh, that's yeah. No, don't tell us.
But everyone's joking around. I mean, constantly.
Yeah.
Giggles.
Yeah.
Joel giggles a lot.
We hear this a lot about actors playing practical jokes on each other in between shots and everything. Is there pressure that you need to really come to the set thinking up what you're going to do next? And it sounds like there's a whole competition going on.
Yeah, you always want to one-up somebody else.
I'm so bad at that. I mean, when Miranda got me this time with this particular one, she's like, I'm going to get you back. And I didn't. I think I tried once and I was like, how's your lunch? Tastes good? Yeah, because I brought her lunch. I'm like, yeah, I enjoy that. I didn't do anything, but it was, that's the worst I can do.
I did a joke to Jackie McKenzie on the 4400. One day, we were doing, it was called EPK Day, where it's like press kit. They come out and they do a video behind the scenes for the studio, for the network. And so, we were doing the scene, and the guy would pull you aside and ask you questions on camera, and then film the scene as we're doing it. Well, the special effects guy had this big spider on his desk, and I grabbed him, I go to the EPK guy, I go over to Jackie. So I take it and I walk over to Jackie, and she's looking the other way, and I put the spider on her. She freaked out so beyond, because in Australia, she's from Australia, there's spiders there that actually kill you. Well, I didn't know that. So here I thought it would be like a joke, all laugh. She ran off the set. I was like, looking at the camera going, so after that moment, I was like, no. It was horrible. Never do that again.
I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Well, actually, it's more for Joel. Since the bees were getting into the whole concept of the soul and being curious about it, I always thought Father Jack, considering how he is going through so much doubts, what do you think his reaction would have been to all that stuff?
I think that Father Jack always stayed his, like I said earlier about his studying that he did to become a priest, that he would always stay close to that. He would not deviate from that integral place. So even though all this stuff was happening and all these things he was questioning about, I think that was always there. I love those moments, the scenes that I had with Morris, that one episode, and they kind of went back and forth with Morena, talking to her mother about the soul and trying to get information about what it's like to be human, what is the soul, and then I'm talking to Ryan about that, and I like that. I think, so I don't know, I'm so curious of where it would go with Father Jack, the more horrible things that he would see, the world can be a kind of a dark place sometimes, there's things that are happening in our world that are just horrible. So, and that does change people. I'm always fascinated by, as an actor, you look at different people doing really crazy things, and you go, wow, they're justifying what they're doing. Here we're approaching 9/11, and it's just inconceivable to think that somebody could do those acts, but yet for them, they're justifying it, and you can't even wrap your mind around it. So I think when it comes to stuff like that in our world, and then people seeing things that are not so great, that you want to believe in something else. You know, you want to grab onto something that you know, which I think is very close to what sci-fi is. You know, you're thinking bigger. You're thinking from a place that's up there. And I think Father Jack has a very grounded, rooted belief in God, and I really love the challenge of playing that, like something like that. It brought out the better part of me as Joel, and I think characters can do that as an actor. When you're playing roles, you can explore different aspects of yourself, and that's a beautiful thing. I actually encourage everybody, if you ever wanted to take an acting class, it's really, it can be very fulfilling in many ways. You know, you can learn a lot about yourself, and even being shy and getting up in front of people. I mean, I remember the first time I did that in class, and I thought, wow, I didn't die. I actually survived this. You know, so.
That's very true. I am working on fascinating technology. I mean, I'm here every week now, but every role, everything you do, you realize, okay, I can overcome that. I've done that for a role. What's next? You always want to challenge yourself in this business. It's what we do every day. You go to set, you're worried about that scene, you get through it. Wow, I can do that. That's great. What next? That's what I love about what we do.